Good afternoon. Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lori Anne Casdia. Our goal here at Healthy Lifestyle is to inspire, educate, and empower others to fulfilling a healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life so that they can feel empowered to live the life they always wanted and dreamed. We should lift each other up with encouragement and positivity. I believe strongly that we are here to serve each other, and I am driven by a desire to leave the world better than the one we inherited and relish the opportunity to make a difference one person at a time. I hope everyone's having a beautiful weekend, and today I'm very excited to say that we have Michael Grosso from Huntington Hospital here with us on the show. He is a medical director at Huntington Hospital. He oversees the medical staff and patient safety and quality improvement initiatives. The acting chair of Huntington's Department of Pediatrics, Dr. Grosso regularly lectures in the residency in family medicine at Glen Cove Hospital program, covering topics such as pediatric primary care, professionalism, communication, and ethics. He also serves as chair of Huntington's Bioethics Committee and co-chair of hospital's Performance Improvement Coordinating Group. Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
So happy to have you here.
Great to be here.
So now you're affiliated and you're an assistant professor of pediatrics at the Donald Barber Zucker School of Medicine at Hofstra Northwell?
Yes, I am.
Well, that's lovely. What do you do there as an assistant professor, other than teaching, of course?
Well, that's mostly what assistant professors do.
There you go.
I'm involved in a number of courses at the school. One of those involves the brand new medical students who are there learning communication skills and how to examine a patient. And in 2018, that's not done the way we did it in the 20th century. It involves actors we call standardized patients.
I used to be one.
Wow.
Yes, in Stony Brook University.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great, great, great program.
Yeah.
So let's tell the listeners what that's about.
So when you enter the sim lab, it's a little science fiction-y because behind each and every door is the same patient. Everyone is Mr. Patterson or Ms. Patterson. And all the actors have learned the same illness script so they can play the part. And the students, sometimes just students for a few weeks at the beginning of the first year, are interacting with those individuals and asking them why they're there and what's the matter and examining them. And then we spend time at the end, that standardized patient and the student and me and the other preceptors, talking about what went well and what didn't go as well and what we might do differently next time.
Perception from the patient's view, perception from the student's view. That's wonderful. Do you videotape it as well?
We do.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we even critique the critiquer. It's a bit of a house of mirrors because as preceptors, we get feedback on whether we're giving the best possible feedback.
That's great. That's really good. I like that. I enjoy doing it a lot because you first of all, I learned a lot about different issues, medical issues that people have. But watching the students progress was wonderful. I remember, you always know when they're newbies because they just have the fear of God in their eyes. And that you give them this opportunity while they're going through school is such an advantage because when they come out, they really do know how to care for patients, not just on a medical level, but also on an interpersonal level. And it's scary. It's scary. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. I can only imagine the growth that you see every time they go through there. So you sit in the room as an actor and you have all the symptoms and you need to have only those symptoms and you're very vague at your answering and you just kind of have the doctor pull the answers out of you. In some cases, you're given a character who tells everything, like way more than you need and things like that. So we basically drive the medical students crazy.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. I like it on both sides.
You know, one of the things I love about it is watching what happens in those very first weeks. And one of the strangest things is that students sometimes forget the English language within days after entering medical school.
Yeah.
So I had a student say to the patient at one point, Mrs. Smith, do you mind if I auscult your precordium? So we debriefed that at the end. I said, did you mean listen to her heart?
Is that what that means? I was
That's
like,
what that
I don't know. It
means.
sounds kind of violent. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you have to talk everybody's language.
Yeah.
So you can't, I'm finding that you have to kind of turn into a chameleon. You know, all that stuff is running up here, but as a patient, I don't know that language. So you're just talking a foreign language.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, absolutely. So now you are a multifaceted individual, and this is what I find really interesting about you, is that you have 3 very strong areas of work. Why don't you walk us through some of those?
So my first love and my first full-time career was as a practicing general pediatrician. Right. And I did that for 16 years in a multi-specialty group in the Huntington area. I still have my name on the door, and I still see a few of my old patients. And that's still, in my mind, the best thing that any physician can aspire to do, and take care of patients and families.
That's lovely, yeah.
And then almost 18 years ago, I wandered into a second career. I was ushered into a little room by the outgoing chief medical officer. I expected he was going to ask me to participate in a search committee to find a successor, and instead I found out that there had been the search and I was the successor.
Oh, wow.
Whether I was interested or not.
Surprise.
Surprise. It was an abrupt turn in my career, and it's been really interesting being a chief medical officer.
What does a chief medical officer do?
One wonders.
Well, I am wondering. I'm sure our listeners are wondering.
We do a lot of things. There's the day-to-day and there's the long-term stuff.
Okay.
The day-to-day is being a support for almost 1,000 physicians who are members of our medical staff.
In Huntington Hospital?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Not all of them spend a lot of time in the building. About a third of that group is highly active and the rest have privileges. But as a medical director, one's role is to facilitate their work, to make it easier to practice medicine. And then there's the bigger picture, long-term strategic planning, quality improvement stuff, and that's about making healthcare better.
Let's talk about that, because there's an article that you spoke about called Narrative and Medicine. Let's talk about that a little bit. What is narrative medicine?
So narrative medicine is something old and something new. The term comes from a perspectives paper that was published years ago in the New England Journal by a Columbia internist whose name is Rita Sharon. And what she did was to rediscover threads of medical anthropology and sociology and combine it with her own perspective as a general internist to articulate in a new way that when we sit with a patient, we're there to hear their story. And that sounds kind of obvious, but in the 21st century, with the subspecialization and acceleration of progress in healthcare, it's been so much about molecules and robots and devices and not as much about sitting for 20 minutes and just letting the patient say everything that they think we need to hear to understand them as a person and to understand the problems that brought them to us.
That's so dare I say, it's very holistic.
Yes.
It's very holistic because you're actually listening to what the other symptoms that might exist. I'm a really good example for that because I forget. You know, it's not on my head. So unless you ask me the question, I probably won't tell you. Mm-hmm. Not because I'm not being helpful. It's just it doesn't cross my mind that it mattered if I had Cheerios or Fruit Loops. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what does it matter? So that's very helpful to have that communication back and forth. Mm-hmm. Do you leave a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor, as they say in the industry?
That's an expression I used in an essay that I wrote on the subject. Leaving stuff on the cutting room floor is what happens when we take a history the way we're trained to in medical school, at least the old-fashioned way, right. Which is still important because a part of our job is being sort of a Sherlock Holmes in a very goal-directed way. How high is the fever? How long did you have the rash? Did you eat at a fast food restaurant? Very directed questions that point us toward a specific diagnosis, but too much of that can leave out the individual's perspective on being ill. And especially for people with chronic and life-threatening conditions, cancers, rheumatologic conditions, and on and on. It's not just about their symptoms or about their treatment. It's about their life and how this condition is affecting their life.
That's great. I want to continue this conversation. You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle on Long Island News Radio 103.9. I'm Lori Anne Casdia, and today we are speaking to Michael Grasso, Dr. Michael Grasso. So, Doctor, you told me a story which I would love you to share with our listeners. And it goes to what we were just talking about listening and just acknowledging or noticing something that had you really not been paying attention, it could have slipped through the cracks and the ending might not have been as good as it turned out. Tell us that story.
So you had asked me what I was proud of in my career.
Yes.
And I reached way back to something that happened when I had been in practice just for a couple of years in the Huntington community. And it is moments like that make us feel good as physicians. I was coming into the office, I think it was this time of year, and wasn't ready to see my first patient yet when the nurses came into my office and said that this mom had wandered in with her daughter. She was school-aged, maybe 6 or so, because she was concerned about a new rash that she had. And so I said, fine, and she came into an examining room and found out that she had a slight fever, and I took one glance at her rash, and I recognized the signature of a condition that we don't see very often, that I'd seen in training, and it has to do with a life-threatening bloodstream infection. It's called meningococcemia. The germ is also a common cause of meningitis and often causes both bloodstream infection and meningitis at the same time. Wow. But the important thing about it was that it's death-dealing. You can die within hours from this. So, it was about talking to that mother and small child and conducting them across the street to the emergency department because our offices were very near the hospital then, and seeing her through the first few hours of an illness and getting things on track. And that mom has sent me a Christmas card every year for many, many years since then.
That's a great story. And this is where I talk about real, true day-to-day heroes, because that really is heroic that you were able to discover that. You recognized it. You acted on it right away. We as lay people, as residents, we count on people like yourself who are smart enough to really apply and pay attention. And that's a very heartwarming. I get goosebumps when I read it and when you told me. I just get goosebumps when I think about I talk about effectuating change on the show. That's at its highest level. That's at its highest level. So understood why you should be, and it is one of your proudest moments. But there's another moment that I can also relate to, and why don't you tell me that story? You forget that story. Well, I'll say entitled Close Reading and the Care of Patients.
Oh, yeah, that.
Oh, yeah, that. He takes so much for granted. Yeah. We have this amazing man sitting here. So
one of the other things I've been helping out with at the medical school was launching a course for fourth-year students in the medical humanities. So what are medical humanities? It's very much along the lines of what we were talking about with narrative and medicine. So we bring together a small group of like-minded students. This is voluntary, so you get a very self-selected group of people who want to spend time reading literature together, doing some reflective writing together, and exploring what it is to be a physician, what it is to deal with health and disease, and everything that challenges us as physicians. And this for individuals who are about to leave medical school and embark on that next really hard stage, which is residency training. So in any case, as we were putting together the curriculum for this, our dean was interested in borrowing the reading list from the University of Vermont, who had put together a successful program a couple of years before. And so she sent the reading list around to 5 or 6 of us who were involved in the course. And I wasn't surprised to see some really well-known short stories by people like John Cheever and Raymond Carver. But there was this essay, which was the first item on the reading list at the U Vermont course. And the essay was entitled Close Reading and the Care of Patients. And it was my essay. I had written this and published it just in a little brand new literary journal for the School of Medicine and for Northwell Health. It's called Narrateur. It appeared 2 years before. So anyway, there it was on the U Vermont reading
Once again,
list.
Trailblazing.
Yeah,
I love that. That was
fun.
That's a very Zen Eastern medicine type of philosophy and drilling down on the self. I would think that a lot of the doctors to be, soon to graduate, would really want to do that, because that definitely sets you in the right way, because you need to understand your tools in order to help others the best way that you can. Because we're always improving on ourselves, right, on a day-to-day basis. But you have to really look inward to help outward.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And one of the reasons for focusing on this, as you suggest, is that physicians face a great deal of pressure in the contemporary world of medicine. There's a lot of talk these days and a lot of articles on burnout in healthcare. Something like 40% of all physicians report symptoms of burnout. And one of the ways to recapture joy in practice is to rediscover these connections. And they really link us back to the reasons why we entered the field in the first place.
Yeah. So you have to go back to the roots.
Yeah.
You have to go back to the roots. Every doctor has a story as to why they got into medicine. And when they rethink it, you could just see it in their faces as to why. And it's generally a very personal story. I love that link back. But to that personal level, I'm just going to hop over onto a different topic. There on my iPhone, I noticed there's a health app, and I have the ability to put all of my information in there. What are your thoughts about that, and Northwell's support on utilizing tools like that to help us help you help us?
Yes. The short answer is yes, absolutely.
Nice.
We have so many new ways to gather and share data in the 21st century, and we really have just scratched the surface as to how to use those effectively. Healthcare is still so far behind so many other fields. I say sometimes you can go into any Toyota dealership in North America and know when the last oil change was.
Oh, sure. We
don't have that in our hospitals or in our offices. I'd love that for vaccines all over the country.
Yeah.
There's no such system.
Speaking of vaccines, there's a controversy out there that immunization is controversial. What's your thoughts on that?
So my thought is that it depends on what you mean by controversial.
Okay.
I think it probably comes as a surprise to some people who, read the papers and look at the internet to find out that within the field, there's essentially no controversy at all. Vaccines are the most important single intervention we have in primary care for reducing illness. And
why does it reduce illness, and is it safe? And I'm a mom.
Yeah. It's, and we all
we're
all
parents,
had our children, and we make
exactly.
these decisions for them. But the fact is, all you have to do is to go back year by year and look at the time before the introduction of the last vaccine and the last vaccine before that. When I trained, the way the pediatric floor looked in the hospital was completely different from now. Many, many children on the floor had conditions, pneumonia, meningitis, bloodstream infections, epiglottitis, which is an infection of the airway, and others that have completely disappeared since the introduction of the current vaccines that we use. And you asked if vaccines are safe. It's a funny question. When you think even for a second, safety is never a yes or no question.
True.
Is riding in a car safe? Is eating at Wendy's safe? Is going to the beach safe? It depends on what you're comparing it to.
True.
For vaccines, the only really meaningful comparison is the safety of being immunized versus the safety of not being immunized.
Understood.
And in that case, the comparison actually isn't even close. the safety associated with being immunized is much, much greater than the alternative.
I definitely need to have you back on the show, Doc, because I want to drill much deeper into immunization. I'd love to just give me a 30-second snippet about the one thing you should know about breastfeeding before your baby is born, being that you're a pediatrics.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So the one thing is that if mothers are planning to breastfeed, then they need to just breastfeed at the beginning.
Yeah.
We have so many parents who come in and they haven't had quite the education we'd like them to before they get to the hospital, and so they think they're going to do halvesies.
Yes.
And the issue isn't just about what's in the breast milk versus what's in the formula. It's that we want them to be successful in getting started, and getting started means just doing it.
And that was the best thing. I love doing that for my kids. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience, and did the same thing. Went full on. I really appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much. I hope you will come back.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, our pleasure, really. You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle, and we will be right back with our next guest. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lori Anne. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas on topics you'd like to hear more about, email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com and follow us on social media at Healthy Lifestyle with LA. I am a big proponent, you know this, of making your life good for yourself in all different avenues, and I am a true believer that energy is very important, and constriction of energy is something that really gets in our way, and I'll make more sense of that in a few minutes based on our next guest. We have Bonnie Reich from Symmetry Closets, who is just an expert at this. Bonnie started her career in custom closet industry in about 2001 and wanted to start as a temporary shift in a design career, and it became fascination. She started her own firm called Symmetry Closets, and I'm going to just leave it at that for now because Bonnie is a designer, and I just want to jump right in and get to our conversation because I love this conversation. You are a professional space planner.
Correct.
That is fantastic. And this is a totally woman-operated and owned company.
Yes, it is.
And tell us a little bit about how you got here, how you ended up in Holbrook. Tell us all about that.
Okay, so this is fourth time we moved, I think. So like most American, stories, I could build a better mousetrap, worked in the industry, and I was like, after years, I was like, I could do this better. So, I started in my home office and garage until we were at the rafters of the garage and had to bring in more people. And then just sort of built it gradually. Made a small move to a kitchen cabinet showroom, and that worked for a little while, but I still couldn't have the whole company all together because the truck was in one place and the design part of the business was in another, and that didn't work well. So then we moved to Farmingdale, and we were there for 3 years. And then I decided that I really needed a bigger expansion and big equipment, and decided to come out to Holbrook. And here we are.
Nice. Now, in Holbrook, you have a factory facility. You actually make these closets. Yes. They're not kits.
Right. Well, actually, sometimes we say factory, but more precisely, I like to say fabricate, because this is a custom business. So we're not making the same closet, 1,000 times. We're making one closet at a time for each individual customer, depending on what size sizes they need, what their what those needs are, colors, textures. It's all based on personal choice.
It's beautiful.
One at a time.
It's beautiful. I love your showroom, and that ironing closet is just the bomb. The tie hanger, the sunglass drawers, the drawers that are lit. I'm excited. We'll get back to that in a second for those of you who are listening. So corralling your clutter, this is something that you do so well. And we sit there and walk into this closet that's not functional, and you could shave so many hours out of your life trying to look for something if you have this type of a system, correct?
Yes. That is the idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My favorite story is your utensil story. Tell us the utensil story, because that really kind of puts it in a nice little bubble.
So I told you the analogy.
Yeah.
And trying to explain to people, why custom closets, like why is it important? You could have a lot of words, but sometimes a picture, says 1,000 words. So we are very much a visual type of company. I explained this one day to a designer who just said, "Oh my God, I love that! Now I could tell my clients why it's important."
Oh, it's perfect.
I said, "Okay, so imagine you're in your kitchen and you open up the cutlery drawer and there's no organizer in it, just all the spoons and the knives and the forks and everything's just thrown in there, and you're looking for that particular teaspoon of that sugar spoon, and now you're throwing everything out and it's all over the place." Nobody does that, right? No person does that.
Right. My heart's palpitating. Right. My OCD's kicking in.
Anytime, right. So, you buy a new kitchen, you expect to have that, beautiful organizer in it.
Yeah.
You're certainly going to buy one aftermarket, right? Nobody's going to function like that. Same thing with closets. So we don't think about it like that because nobody showed us to do that. And now people are realizing how important it is. You move into a house, if all you have is a wood rod, stretching across 5-6 feet and a shelf, and then you're saying, "I don't understand why I can't get organized. Why is everything on the floor and all over and spilling?" Well, because you don't have that same principle. So it's just like a cutlery drawer, except standing up vertically. And that's what we do. We take whatever space we have. In a reach-in closet, it's easy to think about that because it's only one wall versus a walk-in, right?
Right.
So it's a lot simpler, but think of that, you open up your closet door, and what we do is we take that space and we divide it into sections. And then we subdivide it horizontally, assigning each section, each space, a specific job.
Right.
Just like a cutlery drawer.
And it's a lot easier. So when I'm emptying my dishwasher in my kitchen, I know where my plates are going, and I know where my cups are going, and I know where my utensils are going.
Right. So when you come in with the dry cleaning, or you're bringing the folded laundry up from your wherever your machine is, same thing. You should be able to just walk over to your closet and know exactly where everything goes, and that way you have that map in your mind. You always see it. I mean, you open the door, there it is.
And it makes it easier because you know exactly where it's going to be, and you know exactly where it's supposed to be, and you know where to go when you need it.
Right. And making it easy means less stress.
Yeah.
I know sometimes it kind of sounds, I know even to myself, sometimes I talk about this stuff and it sounds a little, I don't know, maybe a little indulgent, but it's really not, because we're all under a lot of pressure. We're all under a lot of time pressure.
Yeah.
I too like to get that extra 15 minutes of sleep. And if I'm searching for that particular, pair of pants or the particular, blouse I want to wear, if I'm looking all over the place for it, now I'm just adding a lot of stress. By the time I get out of the door, I'm already kind of on fire versus having a nice, easy morning.
Yeah, well, I always use the picture because you had said, we're very picturesque and images help. The carry closet with all the shoes, and I'm a shoe lover, so that is a dream closet for me, where you walk in and you can see all your options. Now I kind of go around things until I get my system put into my closet, which it's coming. I just have to put the floors first. But it's being able to see all my shoes, being able to find my pocketbooks, being able to know where the dresses are versus the skirts, and they're not interwoven, although they're not right now, but they're all on that one line, and it makes it really difficult because there's no separation. And I really do have to still do a little bit. As organized as mine is, it still requires you to look for it. It sucks up time.
It sucks up a lot of time.
Yeah, and if you could reduce that, and it's not just bedroom closets. I have to ask you a question before I go to the next question. I heard, I'm not sure where I heard it, but that the kitchen is the place that you started with this type of organizing, and now it's gone into bedrooms and other closets like pantries and
only insofar as conceptually.
Okay.
So I think that
I have to tell the listeners you are an architect and an interior designer.
I don't practice architecture anymore.
Yes, but you are, right?
Yes, I went to school and I trained.
That counts.
I worked in the industry for 10 years. No, it does count. It helps me tremendously. I have a really great background, detailed background. It's kind of why I love I love the planning side and I love the building side. I love all of it, and I like people, so it's fun to do the sales side as well.
And I love to see how you light up when you talk about what you do, because you really do. I don't know if you know
like
that.
It.
No, you can tell you have a passion.
Yeah, well, I've been doing it a long time, but more than I really just enjoy it. It's a fun business because you meet different people every day, and everybody, and you think you've seen it all, and yet there's always something a little bit different about everybody's particular situation that always keeps it really interesting. So, I've designed thousands of closets, and yet I still, every time I have even simple stuff, there's always something that makes each one a little bit interesting.
And that's what I love about what you do versus some of the other closet organizer type companies. You're really a solution provider. You provide solutions to people, and you make their lives better. And I know that you used to have a slogan, bring balance to your life, and now your new slogan for your firm is
storage with style.
There you go. It's a lot of style. It's beautiful. If you get a chance to go down to the showroom, you should go down there. You have to make an appointment, I believe, but you need to go down and see it. It is beautiful. It looks like furniture. That's how beautiful that it is. So, and it's not just our closets, it's also pantries, and the garage system is to die for. I love that. This is a good time of year to think about your garage, about your storage shed, to put that down, your basements, to keep everything organized and in its place, so you just easily know, okay, the bicycles are here, they're hung here, you're not tripping over them, which I used to do.
Anywhere where you need organization. I mean, closets are like the main thing. Everybody's got actually quite a few of them in their house. They all, can be thought about better and function a lot better. We do lots of whole house projects. Folks that are moving into new homes usually want to have, want to consider, all of the closets. Even very simple, like people don't realize, like, well, I'm just going to put a rod and shelf in there. It's like, it's only a 36-inch closet, and if you let us do the double hanging section, you just turned your 36 inches into 72 inches. And people go, oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. That's twice the storage space. So even something very simple, relatively inexpensive, can make a tremendous difference.
Yeah, and then you've heard the expression, I never have enough closet space. Well, you will if you use a system like this. You'll have enough closet space.
Well, you will, and it'll help you, right, and it helps get organized. And it doesn't matter whether you have, like, some people say, I don't have that big, giant master closet, so why do I need an organizer? If you have a big, giant master closet, you really need an organizer, or it's just going to become a giant black hole. But from every size, whether it's, room-size closets, we do a lot of bedroom conversions. A lot of people have 4 or 5 bedrooms homes. Kids, they move out, they go to college. It's a great opportunity to finally get that reward for yourself, that dream closet. And, but we do, pantries and, mudroom spaces, linen closets, basement storage, playrooms, all types of organization. We do some garage work as well. We don't do kitchens. We don't do bathroom vanities. We do laundry rooms. That's a big one.
Yeah. Now, I want to keep talking about this. You are listening to Healthy Lifestyle on Long Island News Radio 103.9. I am Lori Anne Casdia, and we're here with Bonnie Reich from Symmetry Closets. That's Symmetry Closets. They can find you on the web, right? SymmetryClosets.com.
Correct.
Excellent. And I do know you're on social media. I believe we're going live right now on social media. So hi, everybody.
Hi, Facebook Live.
Yes. So back to organizing and flexibility. Tell us some of those recent success stories. I know you have a lot of successes, so try to narrow it down to like 1 or 2 successes, because the transformation is amazing. Not only are you transforming the closet or the area, but you also transform people's lives because you really change it. You make it better. Talk about that.
Well, success stories are kind of, we deal a lot in success stories. Yeah. So anybody who goes to our reviews online, and we have lots of them. We have, a few hundred reviews out there across all different platforms, Facebook and Angie's List, Yelp. I mean, anybody who looks up Symmetry Closets reviews will be really happy they did if you think about working, with a closet company, because we really do aim to, just have really happy clients, and do what we say we're going to do. We really pride ourselves in being reliable, trustworthy, clean, professional.
Your installers are all yours. You don't farm out the work.
No, everything is done by us, by our Symmetry Closets family. So, we have success stories really every day. I mean, our clients are very, very happy. But, I like...
It's all made in USA too, right?
Right here in Oldbrook.
Yeah, nice. Like it.
Right,
all the products are from USA.
I had one client years ago who had one of her kids. She had I don't know what the issue was, but she was very, very short, like really way shorter than her age. So she was just not growing, at the same rate. And even she looked so much younger than, her younger sister. And her mom and I had done some other work in the house, and she's like, is there anything you could do to help her? And I was like, well, yeah, let's reorganize the closet. And we didn't do anything so unusual. Insofar as we just brought the shelving down to where she could reach it, brought the rod down to where you could reach it. People don't realize that when you have a rod and shelf put in, when you buy a house, a contractor is going to put that rod up between 62 and 68 inches. Well, if you're really short, look, I'm only 5'4". I can have a problem with something trying to reach that upper shelf. So, now here, if you're 12 years old, you should be able to get dressed, right? By yourself.
Sure.
She had to call mom,
stuff,
like a little kid. So that's like one of those things that, it wasn't expensive. It didn't take much time. It just took a little thought, and
gave her independence.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly.
That's really nice. That passion you have for solving those problems, and you personally go over every design for your designers, and you prove that.
I used to be the only designer. Then I had a partner for a few years, and he actually wound up leaving the company, and because he moved away, he just moved out of the state.
That happens.
But so we've always held the design part of it pretty close, because it's really important. Like I approach the company as we're not in the business of cutting shelves, although we do that's secondary. It's really about coming up with great solutions. So
and you do
now.
You do.
I have designers working for me, but yes, we go over everything, we review everything, just trying to make sure that we're providing the best possible solution that we can.
That's great. And I like how everything is built specific for each client. Mm-hmm. It's not, it's not a kit, as we said before. It's not, you're not pulling it out of a box someplace because there's 20,000 of the same made.
Well, we have, and that's really kind of interesting, so this is how, I train myself, train my designers. You have to know your customer. Yeah. If you're meeting with, let's say there's a couple and you're meeting with one person, you have to know if that other person is, 5'2", 6'2", 6'8". I've had customers that tall.
Yeah.
And you have to really spend a little time getting to know people, because when you get to know people, they'll tell you, and you have to ask them, what are your habits, How am I supposed to know you like to put your shoes on the top shelf?
Yeah, right.
Well, if you're 6'8", that kind of makes sense. But you have to ask those questions.
Right.
And then you know how to design.
Well, that's the difference. There's that personal service that you just can't, get when you buy
seamless.
Those kits or go to IKEA, although IKEA has its place. But this is something that's going to be a permanent solution in your house. So it should be personal.
Right, permanent solution, and it should work for you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Talk about the accessories. I am just enamored with
That's
this.
The best part.
Oh my gosh, so much fun! I can, getting right to everything. Everything has a place. Yeah. Not losing my sunglasses. Not losing, jewelry. Right. Having the lighting is exquisite. It's just exquisite, and those touch straws. Talk about all the different.
Clothes. So one of the reason why
what are they called? What
soft clothes?
Soft clothes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody has it in their kitchens today, so it's something that we do offer.
Soft clothes. You just touch it and it goes and it shuts. It's beautiful.
We do offer our clients a soft close option on drawers and doors. So the reason we changed our tagline is. I think, bring balance to your life. That kind of talks about that part of it that is about, relieving the chaos in your life. And that's still very, very important. But I changed it to storage with style because we've gone through several different iterations and we keep growing and expanding and offering more options, more variety in color and textures, and just higher and higher style. So the things that you like lighting.
Oh.
Now, if you go to the shows, you'll see that the high-end kitchens, everything is lit today. The higher-end stuff. So every drawer you open, doors, and you go to those, cabinet design shows. That's what you're seeing in kitchen design. So we're offering that as an option in closets. Certainly when you have, some glass doors, everybody should think about it. It may seem, again, a little bit over the top, but there's a real practical side to why do interior cabinet lighting. Yes, it is a bit more work. Yes, it's a bit more money. But as you get older, it does get harder to see.
Yes.
And what a difference it makes. Even I wasn't a believer until I started installing it in my own showroom. And I'm like, wow, this really does make a difference. When you're looking for that little thing in the back of a cabinet, when you have a light in there, and how much easier it is than like, where's my cell phone light?
Yeah,
so
that's
you open
true.
the door and then everything's lit. So it's pretty cool. And we have different options for that as well. So,
also, some of the lighting in the units, I noticed it also acts as a little bit of ambiance, so you can kind of leave that lighting on and shut your overheads off or shut the lamps off, and you still have that nice warm glow. So it's a beautiful lighting.
Well, we do, quite a lot of home offices. Very, very important. Now, that's a really great feature that anybody doing a home office should at least consider doing. Built-in task lighting, it's so much nicer. We can hide the wires, can have remote control. It's just a more seamless experience.
If a customer wants to come and speak to you, how do they get in touch with you?
They can always reach us at symmetryclosets.com. They can fill out our form. They can find us, on the web. We're really easy to find. Or call us at 631-608-8999.
One more time with that?
631-608-8999.
Excellent. That's a good number to have. And if you see the trucks around, you can't miss them. They say Symmetry Closets all over them. So,
right.
And you probably do see them in your neighborhood. And if you don't, you should, because this is a really amazing system, and you are a wonderful person. Bonnie, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I hope you'll come back and tell us more about all these new accessories and things we can do to organize our life, because as I said before, clutter constricts our energy, and we don't want to restrict or constrict our energy. Thank you so much for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle. I want to thank my guests today, and of course our producer Brian. Thanks, Brian. In the meantime, follow us and send comments to us on social media at Healthy Lifestyle with LA. Remember to do a little something for yourself every day. Maybe get a closet system. It starts there. It doesn't have to be big, but definitely take a moment and do something for yourself every day. That's why systems like Symmetry Closets are important, because that is for you. It'll make your day better, create the habit, create the new balance. And thank you again for joining us on Healthy Lifestyle. Lori Anne, until next time, show up for you and show up big.